All right. Welcome back to the Gun Collective podcast. My name is Jon Patton. Hello. It's been a week. I don't know. And I've got a great guest this week. I've got Zeke Stout, one of the owners of MGS, and we'll get into what MGS is all about. But first, I've got to talk about the things that keep the lights on. Blackoutcoffee.com/TGC and use our code TGC. Buy our Tenacity blend. You get some great coffee. It's low acidity, higher up on caffeine. Get a little extra jolt in your morning routine. And then if you're not into coffee, not everybody's into it. You can get their tea. I especially like the English breakfast. I struggle with that word. And on top of that, they've got hot cocoa as well. Use the code TGC. Get yourself a discount on Blackout Coffee. And then go over to Vertex and use that exact same code, TGC, and get yourself a sweet EDC bag, maybe a new gun bag. They've got this brand new lineup of gun bags that you guys are going to love. And I really like the VTAC stackable storage bags in my vehicle. Every single day I use these. That's vertex.com and use the code TGC. Zeke Stout is here with me. Zeke, how the hell are you, dude?
I'm good. I'm really good. And I have to say, I am like, you know how when you've been around something for a while and something becomes good and you watch it become good and better and better and better, you kind of have this like pride moment.
Sure.
I remember we met at the very first Iraq Veteran Range Day ever.
Yes, we did. Yes,
that was back when you were, what was it, Chaos 311?
Yeah, Chaos 311 like Clarity. Yeah, dude.
Yeah. And just to see like your growth into everything you've done and now this, I'm just like, kind of got a little chills. I'm like, oh wow, this is cool watching him grow.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that. I've been for not everybody knows this. I've been doing this about 11 years, something like that. Full time for about 8. It's going to be 8 next month. This will probably not come out until after that anniversary, but yeah, dude, I've been doing this a long damn time.
It's been a while.
Time. Yeah, and I remember we were standing at like the back of your truck, or maybe it was Marty's truck, and just talking about podcasting and all that kind of shit in this like gully in the middle of nowhere in Georgia, in the dark. Like, we barely knew each other, and we're just sitting there, super excited to be doing what we're doing. What a throwback that is.
Oh man, and that was kind of the beginning of Talking Lead too. It was about the same time. And we had taken our entire, like I had this gigantic Panasonic mixing board. And I had rigged it up in an FJ Cruiser. And I even put like soundproofing in it because I knew all the guns would be going off on the range. And we had our mics, and people would just come into the FJ Cruiser. We'd shut all the doors, and we'd have podcasts.
I remember that giant mixing board. How could you forget something like that? So do you remember at that shoot having the refrigerator door handle go over our heads at like Mach 5?
Yeah, it was one of those things where I had, at that point in time, I had never messed around with Tannerite at all.
Oh.
And I'd seen videos, and I was like, oh, cool, can't wait. Well, I'll never forget. Tim from Military Arms Channel kind of goes, I think we put too much in there. Let's get back behind the tents. And I was like, really? Is it that bad? And dude, as soon as that thing went off, I mean, half the refrigerator went, probably 500 yards into the air.
Oh, at least
launched, and then other pieces came flying all over the place. It was crazy.
I was crouched down. So this was Iraq Vet shoot. What year was that?
That was 13, maybe. It was the first one ever.
Yeah, it was way early on. Hickok was there. You were there. Obviously Tim was there, and a whole like Such was there. Like all of the guys that have been doing this for a long time were at this thing. I remember when that refrigerator was just plopped out in the field and got loaded up, I decided to crouch behind Eric. So Eric from Iraq Vet has a G36 HK G36 machine gun with a drum mag in it. And I was like, the safest place is right behind the guy shooting. So I got down and I'm like filming around him as he's shooting. Yeah, that was, and then you hear, wow, and everybody's like, what the hell was that? That was the door handle from the fridge.
Yeah. Take the lessons that we've learned, people.
Yeah. Well, since then, guy blew up a mower with binary and lost a leg. That happened, and FPS Russia and all this stuff happened since then.
Yeah.
It's bad. I almost died a few years ago. I did like a Christmas special. It was terrible, but so the idea was I was going to blow up a gingerbread house with binary. So I put this
Mhm.
little 1 pound, half pound thing inside a gingerbread house, and I put it on top of a stump. Well, me being the brilliant man that I am, I didn't realize that the stump was totally dried out,
Oh
and I
no.
fired, and the stump split, and I had a piece of firewood go by my head at 1,000 miles an hour, and it's in high speed video. You can see this chunk go by. It's terrifying.
That's
Yeah.
scary stuff, man. I mean, it's fun stuff if you're safe with it, but sometimes we don't know what we're handling sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, I have stories for days about that stuff, and it if you don't do it right, it can be a problem.
Yeah.
But there's safe ways to do it. So you started out doing the podcast way back
Mhm.
when. I didn't even have to explain that. It's like you meant to do it,
Yeah.
and you have since you've gotten into this space of education when it
Yeah.
comes to the gun industry, but not from you are not a traditional educator. Explain what the hell MGS is and how you fit into that mix.
So my background, we'll go way back and how
Yeah,
I got
please.
the background that I have. I went to school I wanted to be a doctor. And so I got my
Okay.
degree in biology and sports medicine. Never worked a day in sports medicine. I actually got an offer because it was one of those things where, like, as you're going through that program, it's cool. You're around the athletes. I used to be an athlete. I'm all right, cool. This is kind of working neat. But then I remember one day I was assigned the volleyball team for MTSU, Middle Tennessee State, and during spring football track practice, everyone in the sports medicine program had to work spring football, those early morning 5 a.m. practices.
Okay.
So I would go to that. I'd have class from 8 to 3. As soon as I got out of class, I'd have to go to the volleyball gym and prep them, get them ready, ice, whatever we needed to do, any kind of physical therapy. And then if there was a volleyball tournament or something, I didn't get back to my apartment until 2, 3 a.m. Well,
Oh
guess
my
what?
gosh.
I had to be back at the football practice field at 5 a.m. And then it hit me. I'm like, if I want to do this, you start off making about 35 grand as an
Oh, dude.
athletic trainer. And I'm working so many hours that equals out to like $4 an hour. I'm
Yeah.
like, this is kind of crazy. But luckily, a friend of mine, he was a physician there in Murfreesboro, Tennessee, and I became his clinical director. He offered me a
Mm.
job as soon as I graduated and worked there. Then I worked in the sales side of the medical field for a little while, and all along the way, even when I was a clinical director, I was picking up these little marketing tidbits because the doctor I worked for, a lot of doctors are not great business people and not great marketers.
I mean,
It's
the
just
same
like
could be said about gun companies full of
yeah.
engineers.
Oh yeah,
Same
yeah.
idea.
Oh, we can talk about that too. That'll be fun. But he was smart with marketing. Very rarely, he was kind of smart with his marketing, and ended up being one of the bigger general practices in Murfreesboro. And so I picked up a little bit there. Then when I went into the sales side, I was kind of chasing the dollars, and the money was great. And I got a lot of little marketing tidbits through that, but I got burnt out quick. The last medical sales job I had, I was on call every other week. So I had to be on call if somebody, and at the time I was working in a bariatric bed company. So these gigantic beds,
Oh my
for
gosh.
people that are up to 1,000 pounds. Well, if somebody called in the middle of the night, 800-pound person comes into the ER, we need to have a bed for them. I had to go at 3 a.m. and deliver it. Well, then the
Oh,
next day I
wow.
had to be in a
Okay.
suit and tie, going to all these execs in these hospitals and selling them the beds. So there was a point where I was up for 36 hours straight. And I walked into my buddy from high school's office. He had kind of built this empire in Nashville. He had car dealerships, insurance companies. He had two Hispanic radio stations, and that's where it starts to get really fun. And an insurance company. So I walked into his office, said, "Look, I've been up 36 hours straight. This is nuts. What can I do for you? Here's my resume." And he kind of looked at it. He goes, "Are you willing to learn?" I said, "I'm willing to learn anything. I'm just burnt out." So I got a crash course in niche marketing with him.
Okay.
I also got a crash course in running radio stations.
Okay.
Not only running radio stations, running Latino radio stations.
Do you speak Spanish?
All I know is the cuss words. So at least I had it covered where if one of the DJs said something bad, I could reprimand him for that. Other than that, I didn't know what they were saying. They could have been doing payola all over the place, and just I could have gotten in big trouble. But we were very successful with it. They were the 2 largest Latino radio stations in the entire state. And while I'm working for him, I started getting back into guns. I was never, I hunted growing up. I was around guns growing up. I was born in Texas and raised in Tennessee. I mean, they give you a gun when you're born, basically. So I was around it, but I was not really a gun guy. And about that time, one of the things we did is we opened one of his car dealerships in a rough area of Clarksville, Tennessee. And so I got my carry permit, and I got a little Taurus revolver. When I get into anything, it's almost obsessive. So I started watching Hickok videos and Plinkster videos and Military Arms Channel and Such and all the people that were around back in, the 2008, 2009, or no, probably, 2009, 2010 range time. And I just started soaking it all up. Well, I started listening to some podcasts, and a lot of them were Firearms Radio Network. And I started noticing that while I enjoyed a lot of them, most of them, and I learned a lot from a lot of them, a lot of it was kind of back in those old days. This is the new gun. This is what we like about it. Next, this is the new gear. This is what we like about it next. There wasn't a whole lot of mixture of different subject matter with pro-gun people.
Right.
Well,
right.
This dealership was an hour away from where I lived, so I would get on the phone with Marty all the time. Marty kind of like had been begging me to get into the gun world forever, and so I'm like, yeah, I'm into it. And so we're talking, we're busting each other's balls, we're doing all kinds of stuff, going back and forth. And then finally I was like, can we cuss on this show?
Absolutely.
Okay, sweet. So finally I was like, dude, we need to record these conversations and make a podcast. And you can ask Marty this and he'll admit it. He goes, "What the fuck is a podcast?" So I was like, I know it's like radio that you can download, and all I have is this Apple Podcast app, but I'm sure there's other ways. So he goes, "Well, how do we do it?" I said, "I don't know." And so I went back to my buddy who owned the radio station. It's like, "Hey man, can we use the radio station studios to record a podcast?" He goes, "Yeah, because nothing was live after 5 p.m. at those stations."
Okay.
So the first year of Talking Lead was actually in a Mexican radio station.
That is fantastic.
Yeah. So we kind of went with the format of you're sitting around with your buddies in a cabin shooting the shit about guns.
Sure.
If you started talking about movies, you started talking about movies. If you started talking about music, anything went, kind of thing. And we wanted to make it really entertaining. Then we found out that Hickok 45 lived 20 minutes from us. So I'm like, let me see if I can get this guy to come on. So I emailed him within 2 hours. Yeah, I'll come on your show. If you're in Nashville, I'll come. Okay. So
let's paint the picture here. At the time, no one was as big as Hickok.
Oh yeah.
Maybe FPS Russia, but he was on it was a different style, but in the sort of gun world, I mean, Hickok was it.
I think at that time he was about to hit 2 million. And It was just like, whoa.
Yeah.
And everybody
else was unheard of at the time.
Yeah, everybody else was hovering in that 400, 500,000 range kind of thing. The big guys that are over 1 million now. And so he walks in, and it's this Mexican radio station, and he just kind of has this look like, what's going on? Well, first, until you meet Hickok, you don't know he's 6'9".
Yeah, he's
and
gigantic.
Yeah, and I'm a tall guy. I'm 6'7", and he towered over me, and his hand was like a baseball glove. I was like, "Whoa, what just happened? Oh, this is crazy." And that's kind of what set us off. You know, we did that up until that episode. I think we had a couple hundred listeners. You know, maybe we did that episode. He promoted it on his channels, his social media. Dude, we were in 117 countries within 2 weeks.
Oh my gosh. Oh
and
my gosh.
I was just like, I'm calling Marty every day. I'm like, I'm looking at the Libsyn numbers and I don't believe them. I was like, I don't understand how we went from a couple hundred downloads to hundreds of thousands.
Hey.
And I'm like, this Hickok guy has got something.
he's on to something. I don't know what it is, but he's on to it.
Yeah, exactly. So from there, you know, when I was working there, I got a lot of marketing, especially the niche marketing knowledge. And I started studying it, you know, obsessively studying it, just like I did with guns. And it started hitting me. I'm not passionate about what I'm doing. You know, I love the radio side. I don't speak Spanish, so I couldn't really get involved like I wanted to. The car side, I like cars, but you know, I wasn't big into the dealership side with that. And I was like, you know what? I'm passionate about guns. Let me reach out to some of our sponsors. I'm just going to shoot my resume out. And we won't mention the name, but another school was one of our sponsors at the time and reached out to them. And within 2 weeks, they had offered me a position as the chair of the company. Worked my way up, grew the company. I think we grew 341% in the first 3 years.
Wow,
I was there.
That's nothing to shake a stick at there.
It's not, you know,
that's fucking substantial.
Well, and it was kind of cool that I had people that I understood from the creator standpoint.
Sure.
You know, you were one of those people. You know, it was you, Hickok, Plinkster, Iraq Veteran, Military Arms Channel, all these people that we were all kind of in each other's world. And I was like, hey, let's do this. But I don't want to do it with print media. I don't want to do it with TV. I think this is the wave of the future. And so we cut down all the print and the TV stuff, and we went strictly with that. And we just boomed and we exploded, and we're very successful with it. Started butting heads on a few different things.
Otherwise, you'd probably still be there.
Otherwise, I would probably still be there, correct? There was a few different things that we won't talk about, but now you're going to get bombarded with questions. What were the things? What's
the things? I need to know the things. Guess what?
I don't know I'm going to create an MGS shirt that says MGS, Zeke's here now. What were the things?
What were the things? You'll have to find Zeke and ask him yourself, because I don't know. He probably told me at the time, but I don't remember any of that shit.
So there towards the end, I almost missed out on this. I don't know if I've ever told you. I don't know if I've ever said this on a podcast or anything.
Oh shit! Exclusive,
maybe. I don't know. Somebody might go, "No, he said it on my show."
Yeah, right.
This is just my forgetful brain. But I got a message on LinkedIn. And it said, we're doing a TV show and we need a gunsmithing judge.
I remember this.
And I'm kind of like, it'll never happen. Sure, why not? I'll audition for it. Because I'm thinking this show's never going to happen. Because being in the radio space, you meet a lot of the TV people too. And, you know, there's so many shows that are filmed every single year. And 6% of those shows make it to air.
Jeez.
Of those shows that make it to air, only 8 to 12% of those shows last an entire season.
Dude, I remember there was a stretch in like 2015, 2016 when it seemed like at least once a month everybody was getting the same invite to the same nonsense reality TV shows.
Yep.
You know, we need you to drop everything you're doing. I can't tell you how many conversations I had where I'd get on the phone with them and I would say, look, we can talk about doing the show, but you own nothing. And then they just would not want to continue. They wanted to own every bit.
Everything.
everything. So they wanted to own, basically my business just for being on their TV show. It's like, well, you don't know. I literally cursed at these. I'm like, fuck you, dude. No way are you gonna own my business because I appear on your. Get the hell out of here. So
well, and
it was a thing.
I learned through our process that, like, I'll just say, it's Discovery Channel who we did the show with.
Yeah.
Their generic contract that they push out to every talent person says this. And how many people just want to be famous? It blows my mind. Because in my contract that they offered me first, I didn't accept this. We own your name and likeness in perpetuity. I said, you're nuts. And so I called the lawyer. I was like, are you serious? She goes, no, we can take that out. And then I was like, okay, great. And then we negotiated back and forth and we came to a good contract. But then I asked her after the negotiation, I was like, how many people signed that first contract? She goes, you would be shocked. So many people sign it. And I'm like, there's no way. So anyways, started audition for that. Then they found out I had, podcast and radio background. Because Vanessa, I skipped over that. Vanessa Mandrell and I had a show called Projectile Dysfunction.
That's true.
Which we're going to be relaunching. And I'm going to steal some.
I call BS until I see it relaunched.
Yes. But we did 5 years on FM radio in Nashville, and we podcasted as well. And we had it was a blast. And anybody that's ever met Vanessa, I mean, you cannot not laugh within the first 5 minutes of meeting.
She's a bit ridiculous.
She is, yes, absolutely, in a good way.
Yeah.
So, anyways, they found out that I had done all this radio stuff and podcasts and YouTube, and they're like, "Well, we didn't know about all this. Why don't you audition to be the host?" And I'm like, fuck it, they're not. This show's never gonna happen. Yeah, well, okay, I'll audition to be the host. So when I'm doing these auditions over Skype, I didn't care. I was just like, yeah, okay, here's what you need. This, here's a pen. This is what you do with the pen. Blah blah. And I had these people cracking up and laughing, and it was fun. And next thing you know, 8 months later, we're filming up in Bath, Pennsylvania. And it was,
for lack of a better term, that is the middle of fucking nowhere.
Oh yeah. We were in an old abandoned steel mill. Basically, that's where we filmed the whole thing.
I remember when I remember that for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, because I called you and said, "Hey, I'm in Pennsylvania. You don't know this, but I'm filming a TV show."
Yeah, it was the classic Pennsylvania thing. Whenever anybody's in Pennsylvania, they're never in my area. It's just not a thing. Right. And it's, hey man, I'm in PA. You want to hang out? And I'm like, where are you? So I Google it, and it's like 3.5 fucking hours away. I'm like, no, I don't want to drive.
Yep, exactly. So did that show. We got a full season out of it. It was probably the most fun I've ever had working. As far as
are you comfortable saying the name of the show?
Yeah, it was called Master of Arms.
There you go.
It was on Discovery Channel. You can still watch it they still got it on their on-demand platform and everything. Oh, cool. And I don't get a dime off of it, but hey,
how nice of them, right?
Yeah, exactly. But so did that. It was fun filming it. The stress that comes after it goes to air, I never really comprehended until it went to air.
Okay, and what do you mean by that?
So I'm used to doing a job. If it's screwed up, I work harder to fix it. I hire somebody that knows how to fix it, or I learn how to fix it and fix it.
Okay.
You do TV. You put everything into it. You effort, ideas, everything. Somebody else does the editing. I'm also used to YouTube and podcasts. I edit everything myself. I had control over what the final product. This I didn't. And then here's the big thing. Your job now depends on the American public's viewing habits.
Right. And if they edited it correctly to make it like there's a layer upon layer to get it to do well.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And the weird thing to me was, I told you how I auditioned. I was myself. I was goofy. I cracking jokes, just being me, like we're talking now.
Sure.
The showrunner, executive producer, he loved it. He's like, I want you to be like the, freaking what's the PT Barnum of this show.
I see.
You're the ringmaster. You're having fun. You got everybody having fun, and that's what I did. Then the Discovery suits came.
Oh boy.
You're big and you've got tattoos and you've got a beard. We want you to be scary and mean. And I'm like, but I'm not a scary or mean guy. No, that's what we want you. I'm like, but that's not what I auditioned as. You know, I had a pretty intense conversation with one of them. I was like, I don't understand this. You're trying to make me something I'm not. I said, every one of my friends that watches this show or any of my fans from my radio or YouTube days are gonna go, what the hell's wrong with Zeke? You know, who is this
Is
guy?
he okay? Is he under duress?
Yeah. So if you watch the first 2 episodes, we went back and refilmed the beginnings of those. So if you watch those first 2 episodes, I'm like, you will have 6 hours to complete your task and blah 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 blah. And I had this like straight face, and you could tell in the first episode I'm pissed. Like I'm even red. I'm just like, this is not going to make it. It's not going to succeed.
Nonsense.
Right. And so, anyways, show went great. Had a full season. I was bummed that it got canceled, but you know, the producer called me and told me those stats I told you earlier. You know, only 6% filmed actually make it to air, and out of those, only about 8 to 12% last the season. You got a whole season. You did something. Be proud. And I was like, oh, okay, I feel better now. So went at this point, I had left SDI. And oops, I said their name. Oh well.
I didn't. It was you. Yes.
I had left the prior school, so I left there. I was a little unhappy with the way. No, okay, screw it. I was pissed at how that ended, and I kind of just took a hiatus from the gun industry as a whole after being in it for, I guess, 7 years or so. I can't remember.
Yeah,
what
you
it
just
was.
kind of faded away there.
Yeah, I did for about a year. I went into I was the marketing director for a place called Law Tigers, and basically what that is, it's a law firm company that does motorcycle injuries and motorcycle accidents. Yeah. So
were you the guy on the billboard, or were you the guy
I was on
directing
one of the billboards, I think. But then I traveled around. I got to go to Sturgis. That was a cool trip because me and Chad from Caltech and a couple other guys, we rode our bikes to Sturgis. We also had a trailer and stuff. So that was fun because Law Tiger sponsored. It's like almost the whole city of Sturgis. So that was a blast. Got to do something else I was passionate about, which is motorcycles, for a year. Some things happened at my former employer. I'll tell you offline.
All right.
And
more things that I get to know and you don't.
What are those things? It kind of lit a fire, and I was very passionate about it because I think one of the most important things in our industry is education, whether it's tactical training or concealed carry training or any of the trainings you can get. I don't think anything should be required because we're bordering on infringement with that. But I think we have a responsibility as gun owners to get as much training as we possibly can.
Right.
And part of what we were doing was gunsmithing training. And I was very, very passionate about it because I saw where we could definitely be a resource for the entire industry, not just the gunsmiths.
So this is once you've moved over to MGS.
This was my thought process.
Okay, I see.
Law
so
Tigers,
sort of gathering. Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, gathering. And I'm like, I'm passionate about this. I need to go back to passion. And I reached out to MGS, who is already in existence. MGS has been around as Modern Gun School since 1946. It was brick and mortar for a long time, and then they transitioned into distance learning and correspondence courses. So I reached out to them, and I was like, "Hey, you want me? It was more professional, but you want me to do for you what I did for them?" And they're like, let's talk. So I flew back up to Pennsylvania, ironically enough, back to the Allentown area. That's where our offices are based. So I filmed a TV show like 20 minutes from where the offices of the company I'm part owner in now is based. So went up there, had a couple days there, did some negotiations, got a call back, I think 2 days later with an offer. And so bought in, and now I am running as hard and as fast as I can growing this thing.
And the world has shifted in quick fashion around
Yes.
the like for in between the times at these different schools.
Mm.
The game has shifted, and that's
Oh yeah.
very interesting. It's very interesting because the same things don't necessarily like there's no chance they all apply.
Yeah.
Like what's the 30-second ultra short pitch of what MGS like offers so people have more context about what you're doing?
So we've got 3 different programs. We've got a basic, which is basic is just here's the inner workings of guns. This is gun types. It's very rudimentary. You have I think there's 4 hands-on projects.
So basic education on guns in general.
Exactly. This is the perfect one for somebody, say you're an accountant at a toothpaste industry somewhere and you just love guns and you want to break into the gun industry, but your entire resume is toothpaste. This is that perfect little oomph to kind of say, hey, I've trained, I've learned, I want to get in, I want to be an accountant at, 6 Hour or whatever. Just kind of showing a little bit more. It's also for people that want to get a certificate that maybe they're already a gunsmith at a shop, but they want to get a little education too. That's perfect for them. We've got the Advanced 1, which has 7 hands-on projects. And it's really cool because we're not degree offering. We're not degree granting. You don't have to take all of your basic education stuff. There's no essays to write. It's your first project is refinishing an M1 Garand stock. We send it out to you. You send it back to us.
So is the idea that it's certificate based? Is that how you have that sort of, hey, I did this?
Yep. Yeah,
Okay,
exactly.
okay.
You get a certificate, diploma, certificate. I can't remember what exactly we call it. But
You
it's
should
saying,
probably know that. You fucking work there.
yes. Yeah, I know. I'm pretty sure it's certificate.
Oh, that's very funny.
Just everybody ignore the director part.
Yeah. Just cover that up.
Yeah. But you get the certificate for advanced, and then Advanced 2 is our newest program, and it's basically everything you get in Advanced 1, all the hand tools you need to complete those projects. Then at the end, you get a choice between a 1911 and AR-15. The 1911 is Alpha Foxtrot. The AR-15 is F1, which is now soon to be Watchtower. And then the Traditions Firearms American long rifle, like just a Kentucky long rifle.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
And then a Lone Wolf Firearms Striker Fire build. So you get to choose between one of those 4. And that's your final project. And then after that, the biggest thing I always wanted to do with this at either place I was at, if you go to auto diesel college to become a mechanic, when you graduate, you get a pallet of tools, and you can go to any dealership and say,
and you can
I'm ready to be your mechanic. Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
At MGS and then at my former employer, we never had that. And, I got a lot of, Nito, I graduated. I feel like you taught me a lot. I feel like I'm ready to be a gunsmith, but I was kind of wanting to start my own shop. Now I got to spend thousands of dollars in tools to start my own shop. How is this AR-15 that I built going to help me start my own business?
That's fair. That's a fair question.
And I'm like, we've got to be up to speed with other trade schools. So now with our Advanced 2 program, you get over $1,500 in tools.
What kind of tools are you talking about here?
So you get the Real Avid Armorers kit. So that big Armorers kit that has everything you need for pretty much anything.
Right.
You get their 360-degree vise. Have you seen that thing?
I have. Honestly, they have really started to impress me. They went from like gun store counter garbage to actual legitimate tools in short form.
Oh yeah, that 360-degree vise. I saw it at the Great American Outdoors show last year, and he came and demonstrated it to me. I'm like, that's so simple yet so genius, because anybody that's ever worked on any gun with a regular bench vise, you're trying to get these weird angles and you're leaning, you're trying to get the light right. This thing, you could bend it anywhere you want, any angle, so that thing's awesome. So they get that. They get a bench grinder. They get a belt sander. They get a Dremel full decked out rotary tool. So not just the Dremel itself, but they get the pedal. They get all the different kit stuff that come with it. There's a buffer, several different things that they get as a graduation
That's pretty
pack.
rad.
So,
Like honestly,
that's pretty awesome.
I can look to my right and see my tool setup, and that sounds like a more like complete version of the crap that I've cobbled together over the years.
Yeah.
That's cool.
It's an amazing kit, and the best part of all of it, and I have a passionate passion. Wow,
Yeah,
I have a passion for education.
take that, bitches.
Yeah, I have a passion for marketing, but I have a degree in biology and sports medicine that I'm still freaking paying student loans on. So I did not want to strap anybody for tens of thousands of dollars for this program.
Okay.
So we figured out a way to make it work and still make a profit and do well. And all of everything I just told you is all under $6,000.
You're shitting me.
Nope.
I honestly, I was like, oh, this is probably 20 grand.
No,
I did, for context, I did not go to college. I went to tech school. It was nerd tech school. I went for network systems administration, which was like pre-iPhone. I graduated high school in 2002 for the people listening. So I was learning about that kind of stuff, and my trade school didn't do shit to help me. Like they did not do shit to help me. So to hear, not only is it really affordable, but like actually helpful, fucking hey, dude. Like, and I'm not trying to sell this to anybody. Like, do it or don't do it. It makes no difference to me. But what I want you to know is like, that's a fucking good value. Like that's legit.
It's outstanding. And even we refuse to do like student loans where there's interest, but we do have an interest-free payment plan. So if you wanted to enroll and pay, if you wanted to enroll and pay $99 a month, we'll do it, and it's interest-free. It's gonna take a while to pay it off, but we're not going to strap you. Yeah, we're not going to strap you with 20% interest or anything like that. It's just kind of like this is the way we're going to lay it out.
And honestly, how else do you like make somebody feel comfortable by saying, look, you can go on this extended payment plan and it's interest free? Like if you needed something to sort of push somebody over the edge into like indoctrinating them into your system, that's pretty damn good.
Yeah, it's great. Now we do have the as well as I do. There's internet trolls. They're like, this. If you pay up front completely, there is a discount. So then they're like, well, it's the same as interest then if I'm paying more, because I'm like, no, here's the price.
That's a cash discount.
Yeah, exactly. So
not the same thing.
We do have a few of those pop up every now and then, but it's not that big a deal.
Yeah, and even then, I'm sure that the discount is not equivalent to anything more than maybe like 1% or 2% of like that. Like, get the hell out of here.
It's
even then, it's still like even if you're talking about under $6,000, that's still like that's borderline cheap.
Yeah, you're getting an education that could potentially give you a great career for less than a car.
And Lord knows the gun industry needs more like actually educated gunsmiths, because the amount of toothless bastards in backwoods gun shops, like I've seen them, I've worked with them. They are creepy bastards, but they know what the hell they're doing with a gun.
Yeah.
And those guys are old as shit and gonna die. Like literally, they're gonna die sometime, and we need capable people to step up and replace them.
Absolutely. And the scary thing is not a whole lot of people are. I mean, we're getting a lot of students coming through. But I'll give an example. I've been doing some grassroots marketing, right? So I've been just going to gun shops around me. I live in Memphis, and just going around and saying, hey, do you mind if I put up some flyers? Yeah, sure. Go ahead, put them up. And then, people ask about it. And then a lot of the times people are like, oh man, we need that. We need gunsmiths. Well, I was in North Mississippi. You got Oxford, Jackson, some bigger cities.
Okay.
And they're like, oh, well, I don't remember the guy's name, so I'm just going to say John Doe. John Doe down the road. He's the only one we got. All right. Go 2 hours down the road. Oh, man, John Doe down in, Smithville. wait, he's the only name I'm hearing. Oh yeah,
Yeah,
he's not the
it's the
only
same
one in
guy.
Northern Mississippi. Yeah. And
Yeah.
I'm like, well, how big is his backlog? Oh, he's been before, or it's 2 years before you come back. And I'm like, holy crap. And it's I'm a marketer, so I'm thinking marketing perspective. When I talk to students, when I go on shows like yours, I'm like, this is something. If you ask me if I take your course, will I be a gunsmith? I'm going to tell you, I have no clue, because I can give you all the knowledge I can. I can give you, the school can teach you every aspect you need to know to become a good gunsmith. It's up to you what you do with the knowledge.
Yeah,
I know
and they
doctors.
also, like, you got to understand there's more to being a business owner than knowing how to perform the task. There's
Exactly.
layers to it. So don't expect to like go turn the key of a business immediately. Sure, they'll get you close with the talent of doing the actual function, but it's complicated. It's
It's
complicated.
it's it's like anything in life, that how you apply it, how you
Yeah, that's
apply,
a
how
great way to
much
put it.
work you put into it. I know doctors that went to Harvard Medical School, and they're shitty doctors. And then I know the doctor. The doctor I worked for, he went to the Philippines to med school, and he was one of the best doctors in the state. So it's kind of like, it all depends on how you apply the knowledge that you're given.
Sure.
So, but with that being said, if you know that it's a slim market where a lot of these guys are dying off or retiring, and you get this education and you apply yourself, the sky's the limit. I mean, I know gunsmiths. I've talked to 2 or 3 in the last few years that make almost their entire living off of cleaning guns, and people that just don't clean their guns.
Yeah, I'm one of those people. I would love, like,
Yeah.
I've legitimately considered, I can't quite afford it, but I've legitimately considered employing an armorer to
No,
literally just come through and clean the guns after I'm done
no,
reviewing them, because I hate it. I like,
yeah.
I can, of course I'm capable. I hate doing it.
Yeah.
I tell people all the time, I clean my guns when they go click instead of bang. Yeah.
Oh man, I had my first squib load last year.
Really? What happened?
And and this is what makes it even worse. I was doing my first steel match, and I was using
You had a squib load at a steel match.
at a steel match, and I was using my brand new TSO, the CZ TSO.
What is the TSO?
It's
Oh, the
the
Tactical
Tactical
Sport
Sports
Orange.
Orange. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
and that thing is slick. It's also very expensive, right?
Yes, it is.
Well, thank God, because this was at a match, so there's guns going off everywhere. Bow, 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 ding, 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 with the steel, all that stuff. Thank God the squib was close enough to the chamber that it wouldn't chamber
Mm,
another round,
you
because
got
I didn't
lucky.
hear it.
You
I
got
didn't hear it.
lucky.
Yeah. And so I was like, what's going on? And I pulled it out, and they're like, go check it. You can reshoot this stage. And I was like, all right. So I went and checked, and sure enough, there's a round right there at the front of the chamber. And I'm like, whoo.
Dude,
I
that's
kept it.
scary.
I kept that thing. I'm like, oh, I'll always pay attention from here on out. So I've officially had my first squib, and then 3 years ago I had my first ND at Eric's thing. But I was obeying the 4 rules, and it didn't. Nobody got hurt.
The amount of people that have basically, it's like people that say they haven't had an ND, and then people that are like, yeah, I've had an ND. I've
Yeah.
screwed up. I let my guard down.
Yeah.
That sort of stuff. I mean,
Yeah,
it's
mine
kind of
was.
fascinating. Go ahead, tell the story.
Yeah, so mine was at Eric's range day. Wasn't I think it was the first year me as MGS was there. So I think 3 years ago, something like that.
Okay.
Right before, it was the last one before COVID.
Okay. Yeah.
So Atlas Defense was there with their suppressed AK.
I remember
And
that.
I had the gun downrange. I was treating it as if it was loaded. And their safety, I mean, if anybody's, I'm assuming that everybody watches your show has shot an AK, but the safety's on the right side, and I'm gripping it, and I flicked it down, and as I flicked it down, my finger went right in the trigger guard. Bam! And I had that moment of,
Oh shit.
oh shit, I did it. I just had it. And that was absolute negligence on my part. It was not a equipment malfunction. It was nothing but me being not paying attention. So yeah, That was my indie story. Ironically enough, I was with Marty.
That's pretty funny.
Comes full
After all
circle.
those years.
Yeah.
So tell me what you think is next for the gun industry as a whole. Like go check out MGS, but I don't want this to feel like I'm trying to pitch anybody on like it's not a damn commercial. Tell me what you think is next for the gun industry, because I know you've got your connections all over the place.
Yeah.
What do you see coming?
I think a lot of the people I've talked to, which some of this is NDA stuff, but so I can't say who or where or what. a lot of it is going towards recoil control. I think we're gonna see a lot of innovative things coming out.
Are we talking like muzzle brakes? Is that the idea, or
internal things?
Okay, all right.
So I think there's going to be some really cool stuff if it comes to fruition. I mean, this is all designs and patents now. It's nothing that's been put into function, but the idea, I'm like, oh, that's genius, cool. But then I would really, 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 really like to see something new and cool besides a new AR when I go to SHOT Show.
Dude, I'm done with SHOT. Like I've given up. We didn't go during COVID. Like when the year we all got sick, like I swear we were like early bleeding edge, and we're horribly sick on the way home from COVID. That's funny, from SHOT Show. Yeah. And then I haven't been back since.
The best one ever was last year. Not this past one, but the one before that.
I hear that it was very good. There. Right.
Well, and it's because you got to do stuff. You got to get business done. You got to get work done, because there wasn't 100,000 people, asses to elbows in every aisle. So.
Dude, I don't necessarily understand the need, and that right there tells me that the need for SHOT Show to be as big as it is, and a huge waste of money that it has become, it's just not a thing anymore. You don't fucking need to spend a couple $1 million on a gigantic booth the size of a damn city block to sell guns anymore. You don't need it.
No.
Like, what purpose does it serve besides soaking up money for the NSSF, right?
Yep.
And the city of Las Vegas.
And the way I tell people, every time, January rolls around, and I'm like, people are like, hey, can you do this? No, I'll be at SHOT Show. Oh man, I wish I could go to SHOT Show. I'm like, SHOT Show is like Disney World. The first time you go, it's like, yay, Disney World. Every time after that, you're like, oh crap, we gotta go to Disney World.
Yeah. My first SHOT experience was 2013, and thank goodness I had a guy that used to have a channel called Haas USMC who kind of took me under his. He's done. He sold his channel.
Oh man, I love that guy.
There's dudes, two. I'm not going to say their name because I don't know if they're good or not. I don't know if they're cool or worth watching, but there's a couple guys that like own a gun shop or some shit and bought his channel. So Haas took me under his wing and showed me around, and I was way out of my depth, and it has gotten to the point where I'm walking around SHOT Show and I can't get work done because I'm getting pulled in 9 different directions at every booth, and I hate it. I can, like, literally the past few years I've stayed home and gotten more shit done and better traction just by covering the other stuff that comes out. And that's honestly part of how GunCon came to be, is like, I don't like the stuffy, gotta rush and get it out. I don't like that shit. Like, I'd rather enjoy the hangs, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's kind of the best part of SHOT Show, is getting to just see people you only see once a year.
Right. Right.
And but at the same time, I'm a businessman. And
are you? I couldn't tell by your resume.
There's stuff I want to get done, and it's hard to get done at SHOT Show. Last year, I got so much done. I was like, wow, I hope it's like this forever. This year, they had record numbers. It was not the same as last year.
Right.
So it's interesting. I'm looking forward to GunCon big time because I love the concept. I love the.
Well, thanks, man.
Yeah, it's really cool. I found I saw it last year, but it was kind of like right before it was going to happen. I was like,
Yeah,
oh man, there's
we
no way
were.
I can make it.
So GunCon
Yeah.
last year happened in 45 days.
Oh
Like,
wow.
yeah,
So that's why I found out.
yeah. Like no, there was a bunch of people that were like, "What the hell was that?" You know, and it flew
Yeah.
by so fast. Because the idea happened, and it came out of the TGC panel. You know that the audience might not know that, and it is sort of evolved. And I mean, even last year to this year has grown significantly. And I'm trying to make sure that as we grow it, it doesn't head in the direction of trade show and more in the direction of neighborhood barbecue. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's the thing that I like about it. And yes, to be clear, MGS did sponsor a portion of it. And if you are there, this may not, I don't know if this will come out before or after, but hey, if you were there, thanks. And if you are going, thanks.
Check us out.
Yeah,
if you were there, thanks for checking us out.
Oh man.
You know, it's funny you said the panel. That's where I announced projectile dysfunction.
I remember that.
Was it Indy?
I don't know which one. I don't know which one it was. The first one was was it Nashville or Louisville? I always get them.
No, it was Louisville. It was Louisville. That's
sorry, Louisville. Yeah. You got to trip over your tongue on that one.
Louisville.
Louisville. That was first one. Second one was Atlanta, and then Indy. I think I can't remember. We've bounced around and that was another reason. I got tired of bouncing around all these damn cities and paying a fortune, an absolute freaking fortune to make the event happen. But joke's on me. I'm paying more this year to make GunCon happen than I ever have.
But it's your baby now. It's not just
absolutely.
It's not a little 2-hour corner of someone else's baby.
Right.
Yeah. So that's a cool thing.
Dude, I'll tell you what's really exciting, and I don't mean to like derail this, but like it's exciting. We actually have new products being announced at the event. This is the second year, and people are like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna drop it at GunCon." What the fuck? Yes, let's go.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty wild, and I like. It's cool to have. You know, we started off the show by talking about how we met in a dark field in the middle of effing nowhere in Georgia. And here we are full circle, 10, 12 years later talking
about. There were banjos playing.
Yeah, it was really weird. Oh, by the way, do you remember the sign on the mower?
The shitty neighbors?
It was asshole shooting club, arrow that way.
That's right. Because we pissed off all the neighbors.
All of them.
There. Yeah, that was.
I think we consumed probably 100,000 rounds of machine gun fire that day,
easily.
Because that was like before. You got to figure there was probably 50 people there. There was not a ton of people, but everybody was just stacking mags and dumping them. Just having a good old time.
Yeah, it was cool. It was a blast. But
so what's next for Zeke? What's coming around the corner for Zeke?
Some of the things that we're working on with the school is I want to have a job board.
What do you mean by that?
Like if you go to the NSSF job board, a lot of times if you apply for those jobs, they're already filled by the time you apply to them.
Really?
And I don't know if it's just a matter of, well, in the past it's been like that. They could have fixed it. This was back when I had applied for different things.
So you kind of used it and saw that it wasn't useful to you and are trying to do a better version.
Yeah, I get the email that says, we apologize, this position has been filled. And I'm like, then why is it still on the NSSF job board?
Sure. Yeah.
We probably won't branch out into every aspect of the industry, definitely the gunsmithing and manufacturing side, because we've had some respectable companies reach out to us in the last 6 months. Beretta reached out and said, "Hey, look, can you shoot this out to all your alumni? We're looking for people."
I mean, they're in your neighborhood now too.
Yeah, absolutely. So that was cool, and I'm like, we need to do something like this. I want to stand up some field studies. basically where it's not an official internship or externship, but it's kind of a thing where we'll go out and find companies, whether it's somebody as big as Beretta or somebody as small as ABC Gunworks in Podunk, Pennsylvania, and say, hey, you need some people to come. You can pay them. I mean, it can be minimum wage. It could be, whatever you want to do, however you want to handle that, and give them a couple weeks, try them out, let them learn as much as they can. The student gets to put that on their resume, did a field study at, this place.
Oh, I see. I
Or,
see how that applies. Okay.
yeah, or if it's somebody that's good and you want to hire them, hire them. It's not an employment agency, so we're not going to, charge you for it. It's just, we want to be that resource for the industry. So that's part of what we're doing, and plus, our motto is always keeping the students first, no matter what.
Dude, I'll tell you what. One of the things that I have been asked over the years, and I'm sure you got the same question: how do I get into the gun industry?
Yep.
And I usually just say go work at a gun shop, because the bare minimum, that's the way to do it. But a lot of the guys that come to me are like, yeah, I already have a job where I make 50, 60 grand a year. Like a decent paying job. I gotta make that to keep my life together.
Yep.
It's not as simple. So having that sort of job board where, honestly, I would recommend, my personal view is open it up to the entirety of the gun industry.
Yeah.
And either offer it at low cost or whatever, that makes sense to the business. And I would say that that's probably a damn good thing, to have that out there. And then, know because of your connections into the creator side, that then becomes a sort of connection to a much larger, like spider web of funneling people in.
Absolutely does. It kind of all becomes synergistic for every single aspect of that.
Synergistic, you corporate fuck.
That's that Tennessee college, man. Middle Tennessee State University.
I went to college.
Yep, college. I went to collage.
Yeah, I paid for my collage degree.
I'm still paying for my collage.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, just to where it benefits the companies, it benefits our students, it benefits other people wanting to branch in the industry. But that's a big thing. Where we started a podcast last year for the school, and I ran that. And
you're saying that in past tense. What happened?
Our Libsyn account wasn't pushing things to Apple or Stitcher. So
that's fun.
The only thing we were on was like Google Play, and the more I've tried to shut it down and redo it and shut it down, and finally I'm like, all right, we're just going to redo it from scratch.
Okay.
And so I'm taking all those down, but we're going to relaunch that in the next couple months. But then Vanessa and I are going to be relaunching Projectile Dysfunction as well.
Did we talk? I don't remember. Did we cover what all is going on with that show? Like what that show's all about? Because you mentioned it, but I don't think we talked about
It's a similar format to what Talking Lead was. Marty's done a good job since I left, but he's kind of taken it in a different direction a little bit, to where I've wanted to keep it more on the entertainment side, and that's what Vanessa and I did with Projectile Dysfunction, where we had everybody from Easton Corbin, the country artist, to Chad Hoover, fish, kayak bass and TV, all these different people. But when they would come on, well, let me just rewind. Anytime I get into something, I find out who did it best, right?
That's fair.
And I study that person. I study, what do they say? What do they do? Well, who did radio best? I mean, whether you like him or not, Howard Stern is the king of radio. It's hands down. People don't like him. People hate him. And there are a lot of things I disagree with him on, but he's done it. So I read his books and kind of read the little things and little tips and tricks and hints. And that's kind of the way we formatted it was, it's just sitting around shooting the shit with your buddies. If we talk about guns, we talk about guns. If you want to promote something, we'll promote it. But one thing we won't do is, if you've got a publicist and they give us a list of questions, we're not going to ask those questions.
Yeah.
Because people are getting smarter and smarter thanks to social media. Their bullshit meter is off the charts, right?
It really is.
So when I go and watch Jimmy Kimmel and XYZ actress is on there talking about her movie. And then I go watch The Tonight Show and she's on there the next night and it's the exact same interview. You start to go, how is this
Not only
real?
they
This
always
is all
have these
scripted.
fake, hey, I heard you do this. It's
Yeah.
hidden talent. Why don't
Yeah.
you do, could you surprise us? No, I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah. Yeah.
Come on, like, get
I
the
heard
fuck
when
out of
you
here.
were at a wedding in Italy, something funny happened. Oh, who told you that?
Yeah.
It's like, oh God, really? We can tell
It's
this
not
is
great.
crap.
Honestly, a few years ago, I was like, man, James Corden, who I've since learned is a total piece of shit, and Jimmy Fallon have done, like, they're so good at this. And then I step back and I look at it and I go, every night is exactly the same.
Yeah.
This is not good.
Yeah, it's a recipe. They just follow a recipe every night with different people.
Yeah.
And that's where I thought.
And you're aiming to be better.
Yeah, we want it to be entertaining, but we want you to feel like you're there sitting with us chatting. I don't want it to feel like it's scripted or anything like that. And it's been fun. I'll use Easton Corbin as an example. Country superstar, I guess.
That
I'm not a big
sounds
country fan.
I'm not a country guy, but that sounds like a bass boat company.
Yes. But he came on and he kind of was very polished and you could tell he wanted to promote the album and we started talking about hunting right off the bat. And he kind of had the like, what's going on? We're like, no, we're not. We'll talk about your album, but not right now.
Yeah. We'll get there. We'll get there.
You saw him just go, oh my God, this is awesome. And he just opened up. It was like, blah, blah, and we were cracking jokes and it was fun. And that's what I feel like a good show would be, like this, like us interacting. Yes, we're talking about the school. Yes, we're talking about GunCon stuff going on, but it feels like you and I just picked up the phone and we're shooting the shit about everything going on.
Right.
That's what a good entertaining show should be. Joe Rogan does it great.
Joe Rogan is on another planet with how he can pull info out of people.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think a big part of it is that it's like, if you want to go down the publicist route with the scripted interview, we're not doing it.
Sure.
Sorry. I appreciate you. Good luck with it, but that's not what this is going to be. If you want to come in and have a good time and get your point across and promote what you want, but while we do it, we're going to have a good time doing it, then yeah, it's great. So.
Well, I look forward to seeing that
Yes.
and probably listening to it. I'll probably get it in some sort of podcast format.
Yes.
But it is unfortunately the time to go. I want to say a quick shout out to Blackout Coffee. Use our code TGC, blackoutcoffee.com/TGC. Get yourself a discount. Vertex.com. Use code TGC. Zeke, anything you want to say to the audience before we kick out of here?
Just check us out. It's mgs.edu is the website. All of our social media is MGS Trade School.
Okay.
I almost gave the old one. And then I'm just Zeke_Stout on everything. So
we will make sure to put some links in the show notes, description, all of those things. As always, guys, thanks for watching. We'll see you soon.